The sun rose slowly over the endless sands of Aridia, painting the desert in shades of gold and orange. The air was dry and heavy, carrying a warmth that seemed to seep into the bones. In the distance, small shapes moved across the dunes, barely visible in the shimmering heat waves. Among them, Nora walked carefully, her boots sinking slightly into the soft sand with each step. She was young but determined, with bright eyes that seemed to notice everything around her. This was her first journey to Aridia, a desert planet far from Earth, known for its harsh climate and the ruins of civilizations long forgotten. Nora carried a small backpack filled with supplies, water, basic tools, and a scanner that could detect strange materials beneath the surface. She stopped at the top of a dune and looked around. The desert stretched endlessly in every direction, broken only by jagged rocks and occasional ruins half buried in sand. Most people in the colony had learned to avoid this part of Aridia. It was too dangerous, too unpredictable. But Nora's curiosity was stronger than her caution. She had come here to find something that no one else could find. As she descended the dune, her scanner beeped softly. She crouched and ran a hand over the sand. The grains felt warm and soft, slipping through her fingers like tiny pieces of glass. Yet, there was something different here, something that did not belong. The scanner pulsed again, and she realized that beneath the sand were strange, organized patterns. Lines and shapes that seemed too regular to be natural. Her heart beat faster. This was the kind of discovery that could change everything. "Nora," a voice called from behind. She turned to see Tarek, a fellow explorer, hurrying toward her. He was taller and older, with a calm presence that balanced her excitement. "Look at this," she said, pointing to the scanner and the faint lines visible on the sand's surface. "Something's buried here. I think it's old. Very old." Tarek knelt beside her, brushing away the top layer of sand with careful movements. "Interesting," he said. "These patterns, they don't match anything in our records. It could be a settlement, or maybe a structure. Either way, it's ancient." Nora's eyes sparkled. "We have to investigate. I know the colony rules say we shouldn't wander too far, but this is important." Tarek nodded slowly. "All right. But carefully. The desert can be unforgiving." Together, they began marking the area, placing small flags to show where the lines beneath the sand intersected. The wind picked up slightly, shifting the sand and threatening to cover their markings. Nora shielded her eyes, staring at the horizon. In the distance, a shimmering light flickered. For a moment, she thought it was a mirage. But it moved, shifting with the dunes. Her heart skipped a beat. Could it be another artifact, or something else entirely? They worked for hours, uncovering small fragments of metal and strange crystalline shapes. They were light, almost delicate, but perfectly formed. Some had faint inscriptions that neither of them could read. Nora traced her fingers over one of the pieces, feeling a strange vibration as if it contained energy. She looked at Tarek. "Do you feel that?" Tarek examined it carefully. "It's alive, in a way. Not alive like a creature, but it's active. There's power here. We should be careful." The sun was high now, beating down relentlessly. They paused for water, sitting on the warm sand and observing the endless desert around them. Nora took a deep breath. "Aridia is beautiful in its own way," she said quietly. "It's harsh, yes, but it hides secrets. Secrets that no one else has seen in centuries." Tarek smiled slightly. "And now, it seems, we've found one of them." As the afternoon heat softened into the cooler glow of evening, Nora and Tarek packed up their findings. The sand was still warm beneath their feet, but now it seemed less empty, as if the desert itself was watching. Nora glanced back at the patterns in the sand, feeling a strange connection. She didn't know what lay beneath, but she was determined to find out. Whatever secrets the desert held, she would uncover them. That night, back at the colony, she placed the fragments on a table and studied them under artificial light. They shimmered faintly, responding to her touch in a way that seemed almost sentient. Nora leaned back and whispered to herself, "This is only the beginning." Outside, the desert stretched endlessly under the twin moons of Iridia, silent yet alive. Somewhere beneath the dunes, the secrets waited, patient and unyielding. And Nora, driven by curiosity and courage, was ready to uncover them. The next morning, the sun rose again over Iridia, painting the desert in warm shades of orange and gold. Nora woke early, her mind restless with thoughts of the fragments she had uncovered. She hurried to the small lab in the colony, carrying the delicate pieces carefully in her backpack. The fragments glimmered faintly under the colony's artificial lights, each one etched with strange symbols and patterns. "Nora, you're up early," said Tarek, already examining some of the samples from yesterday. He looked intrigued, his brow furrowed. "These pieces, they're not just old. They seem engineered, like someone designed them carefully." Nora set the fragments down. "Yes. And the patterns in the sand yesterday. I think they lead somewhere. I want to go back and dig further." Tarek hesitated. "The desert is unpredictable. Yesterday we were lucky with the storm holding off. But if we go deeper, we could face more than just sand and heat." Nora met his eyes. "I know. But we can't ignore this. Something important is buried there. I can feel it." After a short discussion, they agreed to explore further. They packed tools, scanners, and extra water, making sure to mark their path carefully. As they reached the site, the desert greeted them with a quiet stillness. The patterns they had seen the day before were clearer now, faint lines forming shapes that almost looked like a map. Nora ran her hand over the sand. "These lines, they must connect to something," she said. "Look, here's a circle, and it leads to a series of straight paths." Tarek scanned the area. "It looks like a blueprint. Whoever made this planned it carefully. Maybe a building, or some kind of machine." Excited, they began to dig. The sand was soft but stubborn, refusing to give up its secrets easily. Hours passed, and the fragments they uncovered became larger, more complex. Pieces of metal fit together like puzzle parts, and some crystals pulsed with a soft glow. Nora carefully cleaned one of the larger fragments, revealing an intricate pattern that seemed to hum faintly under her fingers. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "And it's powerful. I can feel energy in it." Tarek nodded. "It's unlike anything we've seen on Iridia. These fragments could be part of a machine, or maybe, a device with a purpose we don't yet understand." As the afternoon sun climbed high, they uncovered a large stone slab buried beneath the sand. It was rectangular, with strange writing etched across its surface. Nora traced the lines with her fingers, and the symbols seemed to shimmer faintly in response. She felt a thrill of discovery. "This is it," she said. "This must be the key to the rest of the structure. If we can understand this, we might uncover what's buried beneath the desert." Tarek knelt beside her, examining the slab. "We should document everything before touching it too much. If this is ancient technology, one wrong move could damage it." They worked carefully, photographing, measuring, and recording every detail. Nora felt a strange connection to the ancient builders. Whoever had left these fragments had wanted someone to find them, to understand their work. She imagined a civilization that had thrived on this desert planet long before humans arrived, leaving behind knowledge that waited patiently beneath the sand. As evening approached, the desert cooled, and the air carried a soft wind that whispered through the dunes. Nora and Tarek paused, looking at the patterns they had uncovered. The sun cast long shadows across the sand, highlighting the lines and circles that formed a map of something hidden. "We need to continue tomorrow," Nora said, her voice filled with determination. "But tonight, let's study the fragments in the lab. Maybe we can figure out what they do." Back at the colony, the fragments glowed softly under the lights. Nora carefully placed them on a table, while Tarek ran scans and analyzed the materials. They discovered that the metals were unlike anything found on Earth, incredibly strong yet light, with an unusual ability to conduct energy. The crystals were even more mysterious, holding energy that seemed to respond to movement and touch. "This energy, it's almost like it's alive," Nora said, her eyes wide. "It reacts when I move my hand near it." Tarek frowned in thought. If this technology is still active, it could be dangerous. But it could also help us understand more about the planet and maybe even help the colony survive here more easily. Nora nodded. "Exactly. That's why we need to keep going. There's something important hidden beneath the sand. And I feel, we're getting closer." As the night fell on Iridia, the colony was quiet. Lights glowed softly in the distance, and the twin moons reflected off the dunes. Nora sat at the lab table, studying the fragments under the soft light, feeling a mix of excitement and responsibility. She knew that whatever was buried in the desert was more than just ruins. It was a secret that could change everything, and she was determined to uncover it. Outside, the desert stretched endlessly, silent yet alive. Somewhere beneath the sand, the hidden structure waited patiently. And Nora, guided by curiosity and courage, was ready to reveal its secrets. The morning sun barely rose over the desert when Nora and Tarek returned to the site of their discovery. The sand shimmered in the early light, warm but still soft enough to dig without difficulty. The fragments and the large stone slab they had uncovered yesterday had been carefully documented, but the map-like patterns in the sand still puzzled them. "This place feels alive," Nora said quietly as she scanned the dunes. "Every time I look, I feel like it's guiding us." Tarek adjusted his backpack and nodded. "We should be careful. The desert can change quickly, and the wind can erase our tracks in minutes." They had barely started marking the excavation site when the first hints of a sandstorm appeared. The wind picked up suddenly, swirling loose grains across the dunes, turning the air hazy and hot. Nora shielded her eyes with her arm. "A storm is coming," she shouted over the rising roar. Tarek pulled out his scanner. "It's stronger than usual. We need to find shelter fast." They scanned the surrounding dunes, looking for rocks or ruins that could provide protection. As they moved, a strange glimmer caught Nora's eye. The wind shifted the sand just enough to reveal a line in the dunes, a narrow crack that had been hidden before. Curious, she brushed away some sand, revealing the edge of a hard surface beneath. "Look at this," she called to Tarek. "There's something under the sand. I think it's an entrance." Tarek hurried over, examining the opening. "It's like a tunnel. Could be man-made, or something older. Either way, it could protect us from the storm." The wind howled louder, carrying grains that stung their skin. With no time to lose, they moved carefully toward the tunnel entrance. It was just big enough for them to crouch and enter. Nora led the way, feeling the cool darkness swallow the harsh light of the desert. The storm raged outside, but inside the tunnel, the air was calm. They switched on small lights, revealing walls lined with smooth stone. The passage curved slightly, descending deeper into the sand. Strange symbols were etched into the walls, similar to the patterns on the fragments they had found. Nora traced her fingers over the carvings, feeling a faint vibration, like the tunnel itself was alive. "This is incredible," she whispered. "Someone built this a long time ago. Maybe it's part of the same civilization as the fragments." Tarek nodded. "And it survived the desert for centuries. Whoever built it knew how to protect it?" As they walked further, the tunnel widened into a small chamber. Sand from above had trickled in through cracks, but the room was otherwise intact. In the center, a pedestal held a small crystal, glowing softly despite the storm outside. Nora stepped closer, her heart racing. This matches the fragments we found," she said. "It's part of the same system. Maybe it's a key." Tarek studied the crystal. "If we move it, we could activate something. But we need to be careful. Ancient technology is unpredictable." Nora nodded and gently picked up the crystal. As she did, the chamber responded. Soft lights appeared along the walls, illuminating more symbols and revealing a pattern on the floor, a map that connected the tunnel to the larger ruins beneath the desert. She gasped. "This is more than a tunnel," she said. "It's a gateway. Someone designed this to guide people, or to hide something important." Outside, the storm reached its peak. The wind tore across the dunes, throwing sand into the sky like a golden curtain. But inside the chamber, the air was calm. Nora and Tarek realized that the structure had been designed to survive the desert's fury. Its builders had anticipated centuries of storms, leaving their secrets carefully protected. "We need to explore this further," Nora said, eyes bright with excitement. "This could be the main part of the ruins. Whatever is buried here, it's waiting for us." Tarek smiled slightly. "You were right. The desert does guide us. But we must proceed carefully. There's no telling what else is hidden down here." They spent hours studying the chamber, documenting every symbol, every light, every strange feature. The crystal on the pedestal pulsed softly, as if it were alive, responding to their presence. Nora felt a sense of connection to the ancient builders, imagining them leaving this place behind, confident that one day someone curious and brave would find it. As the storm outside began to weaken, the light from the twin moons filtered into the tunnel through tiny cracks above. Nora looked at Tarek. "Tomorrow, we go deeper. We follow the map, uncover the secrets beneath the desert." Tarek nodded. "And we do it together. Whatever we find, we must understand it first, before we touch anything else." The storm faded completely, leaving the desert calm once more. The dunes shifted slightly in the moonlight, hiding the entrance once again. But inside, Nora and Tarek knew they had found something incredible. The desert had revealed its first secret, and they were ready to uncover the next. For Nora, the thrill of discovery burned brighter than ever. The desert was no longer just a harsh, empty land. It was alive with history, with knowledge waiting to be found. And she was determined to find it, step by step, guided by curiosity, courage, and the secrets hidden beneath the sand. The tunnel seemed endless as Nora and Tarek ventured deeper beneath the desert. The air grew cooler and still, a sharp contrast to the blazing heat above. Shadows danced along the walls from their small lights, and the strange symbols etched into the stone glowed faintly as if reacting to their presence. Every step forward made Nora's heart beat faster. This was no ordinary ruin. Finally, the tunnel opened into a vast chamber, unlike anything they had imagined. The ceiling arched high above, supported by massive stone columns. The walls were covered with strange patterns and symbols, and the floor was polished smooth, reflecting the glow of crystal lights embedded along the edges. At the center stood a large structure that looked like a machine, with panels and cables that pulsed faintly with energy. Tarek stepped closer, eyes wide. This is incredible. It's a vault. And it's still functional, somehow. Nora approached slowly, taking in every detail. It's like the builders wanted it to last forever. And it's not just decoration. These panels, the crystals, this is technology, advanced technology. They moved carefully toward the machine. As they examined it, Nora noticed a faint pattern on the floor leading toward the central structure. The path was lined with symbols similar to the fragments they had found outside. She traced her fingers along the edge of the path. Everything is connected. The fragments, the tunnel, this vault, they were designed to guide someone here. To someone who could understand. Tarek crouched to study the machine. It's waiting for interaction. The crystals respond to touch. Maybe we can activate something. Nora nodded. She reached out and lightly touched one of the glowing crystals. Instantly, the entire structure hummed softly. Panels shifted, lights flared, and symbols on the walls brightened, casting a warm glow across the chamber. The machine seemed to awaken. Careful, Tarek warned. We don't know what it will do. But the machine did not attack or harm them. Instead, a soft voice, mechanical yet calm, echoed through the chamber. Visitors detected. Purpose recognized. Are you worthy of the knowledge? Nora and Tarek froze. The voice was intelligent, almost alive. Nora spoke carefully. We are explorers. We wish to understand the knowledge left here, and use it wisely. There was a pause. Then the voice responded. Curiosity and respect acknowledged. Access granted, in stages. Proceed carefully. Nora felt a thrill run through her. It's communicating with us. It's teaching us. Tarek smiled slightly. Or testing us. Whatever it is, we need to pay attention. This could change everything we know about Iridia, maybe even about technology itself. The machine projected a holographic map into the air, showing the layout of the vault and tunnels beyond. Symbols pulsed and shifted, highlighting areas that seemed important. Nora and Tarek studied it carefully. These areas, Nora said, pointing at a cluster of symbols. They could be rooms, or storage for knowledge. Or even, energy sources. We need to explore them, one by one. Tarek nodded. And document everything. We can't afford to miss a single detail. As they began exploring the vault, they discovered more strange devices, crystals that stored energy, panels with inscriptions they could not yet read, and mechanisms that seemed designed to protect the inner chambers. Nora realized that this place was built not just as a vault, but as a test of intelligence and patience. The builders had created challenges for anyone who sought to access their knowledge. Hours passed, and the vault revealed more secrets. The walls and floors seemed to respond to their movements, guiding them to areas of interest. Nora carefully collected samples and sketches, while Tarek ran scans and recorded energy readings. Each discovery was more incredible than the last, crystals that seemed to generate power from nothing, devices that could regulate air and water, and panels that hinted at advanced knowledge of the planet's ecosystem. "This place isn't just a vault," Nora whispered. "It's a gift. Whoever left it wanted someone capable to find it, to understand it, and to use it to survive and thrive." Tarek glanced at her, eyes reflecting the soft glow of the crystals. "And that someone, is us. Or humanity. We have a responsibility now, Nora. We need to learn, and then share this wisely." As they rested in the center of the vault, the lights pulsed softly around them. Outside, the desert stretched endlessly under the twin moons, silent and still. But beneath the sand, a civilization's knowledge waited patiently, finally awakening to human curiosity and courage. Nora felt a mixture of awe and determination. The desert had revealed its first great secret, and she knew this was only the beginning. The vault held more knowledge than she could imagine, and with it, the chance to change life on Iridia forever. The vault was quiet now, the soft glow of crystals casting long shadows along the walls. Nora and Tarek stood in the center, staring at the pulsing holograms and strange devices. It felt as if the place was alive, watching them carefully. Suddenly, the soft mechanical voice returned, calm but firm. "Visitors recognized. To proceed further, you must demonstrate understanding and responsibility. Are you ready to prove your worth?" Nora exchanged a glance with Tarek. "We are," she said, her voice steady. "We seek knowledge to help our colony and to understand the legacy left here." The voice paused for a moment. "Very well. Your first test is of logic. Solve the sequence to proceed." A panel lit up on the wall, displaying shapes and symbols that shifted in a pattern. Nora studied them carefully, tracing the connections with her finger. Tarek leaned closer. "It's a sequence. Each symbol relates to the one before. Look for the rule." They worked together, moving pieces, tracing patterns, and discussing possibilities. Time seemed to stretch as they focused entirely on the challenge. Finally, with careful calculation, Nora pressed the last symbol in the correct order. The panel lit green. The voice spoke again, softer this time. "Logic proven. Proceed to test of ethics." Nora took a deep breath. "Ethics?" she asked softly. "Yes," the voice responded. "You must make a choice. A device here can provide unlimited energy. But it can only be used for one purpose. Choose wisely: personal gain, colony survival, or knowledge for all." Tarek looked at Nora. "The answer seems obvious. We cannot use it for personal gain. But colony survival is tempting." Nora shook her head gently. "The builders want someone who thinks beyond themselves. Knowledge for all is the right choice. It ensures the greatest good." She reached out and selected the option for knowledge. The crystal on the pedestal glowed brighter, and a map expanded holographically around them, revealing chambers filled with energy, information, and tools for survival. The voice spoke again, now calm and approving. "Ethics proven. Proceed to the final test: courage and teamwork." Suddenly, the floor shifted slightly, and a doorway opened to a narrow passage. "Navigate together. Only through cooperation can you reach the core chamber." Nora and Tarek moved carefully, their steps synchronized. The passage was dark, and the walls shifted slightly, requiring them to adjust their movements constantly. If one stepped too quickly or alone, the path closed or blocked them. Every decision had to be mutual, every step coordinated. "This is clever," Tarek said quietly. "They designed it to test trust and communication." Nora nodded. We need to stay focused. We can do this together. Slowly, they moved through the shifting passage, helping each other over small gaps and guiding one another through narrow turns. The machine seemed to sense their cooperation, the walls stabilizing as they worked as a team. After what felt like hours, they reached a large chamber at the heart of the vault. Here, the glow of crystals was brighter than ever, illuminating shelves and panels filled with information, energy devices, and advanced tools. The air felt alive with knowledge. The voice spoke one final time. Tests completed. Visitors have proven logic, ethics, and courage. Worthiness acknowledged. Access to knowledge granted. Nora and Tarek stepped forward together, awestruck. The technology before them seemed to pulse with energy and purpose. Crystals stored energy in ways they could barely understand. Panels displayed information about the planet, its environment, and ways to improve living conditions for humans. This is incredible," Nora whispered. "It's more than we ever imagined. The builders left everything we need to survive and thrive." Tarek smiled, a mix of relief and excitement. "And we did it? Together." The tests weren't just puzzles, they were lessons. They wanted to see if we could think, care, and work as one. Nora nodded, feeling a deep sense of respect for the ancient civilization that had designed the vault. They trusted us because we showed patience, courage, and understanding. Now it's our turn to use what they left wisely. They spent the rest of the day exploring the chamber, documenting the devices, and understanding the energy sources. Each crystal, each panel, each device held information that could help the colony, ways to generate water, harness energy, and even regulate temperature in the harsh desert. As night fell, Nora looked around the glowing vault. The twin moons of Iridia shone through cracks in the ceiling, reflecting off the crystals. She felt a sense of purpose stronger than ever. The desert wasn't empty, she said softly. It was waiting for someone to understand its secrets. And we did. Tarek nodded. We proved humanity can learn, adapt, and respect knowledge. This is only the beginning. The vault holds more than just technology, it holds lessons for our future. Nora smiled, feeling hope and determination. The desert had tested them, and they had passed. Now, armed with knowledge, courage, and teamwork, they could change the life of the colony forever. Outside, the desert stretched endlessly, silent but no longer empty. Beneath the sand, the secrets of the ancient builders waited patiently, ready to guide humanity toward a brighter future. The next morning, the desert of Iridia glowed under the soft light of the twin suns. Nora and Tarek left the vault carrying their notes, samples, and a few energy crystals carefully stored in containers. The experience in the ancient chamber had changed them both. They understood that the technology and knowledge they had found could transform life on the planet. Back at the colony, the human settlers were busy with their daily routines, struggling with heat, water shortages, and the endless challenges of desert life. Nora gathered the leaders and scientists together, showing them the crystals, panels, and recordings from the vault. These are not just relics, she explained. They are tools, built to survive the desert and help civilizations thrive. If we study them carefully, we can improve life here for everyone. Tarek demonstrated one of the energy crystals. It glowed softly, and as he touched it to a small device, the device powered on instantly, showing readings of water extraction and air purification. The colony members stared in amazement. "It works," someone exclaimed. "This could change everything." Nora smiled. "Yes. But we have to use it wisely. The builders designed these tools with responsibility in mind. We must study and plan before we act. Over the next few days, the colony worked tirelessly. Nora and Tarek led teams to understand the crystals and devices. They learned how to generate water from the desert air, store energy efficiently, and regulate temperature inside shelters. Slowly, the harsh environment became easier to manage. Nora watched a group of children playing near the new water fountain, created from one of the energy devices. The laughter and splashes filled the air, and she felt a deep sense of hope. "This is what they wanted," she said to Tarek. "They left this technology for someone capable, someone who cares about others." Tarek nodded. "We've learned more than we imagined. But now, we have a responsibility to use it for everyone, not just ourselves." With the technology, the colony began expanding its capabilities. Small gardens were planted using energy-powered irrigation systems, and greenhouses appeared, producing food that was once impossible in the desert. Wind turbines, guided by ancient designs, captured energy to power homes and devices. The colony, once struggling to survive, started thriving. Nora often returned to the vault with Tarek, exploring deeper sections and uncovering more tools and information. Some crystals stored energy in ways that could power the colony for months. Panels revealed ways to improve farming, purify water, and even monitor the desert climate for storms. Every discovery made life easier and safer for the settlers. One evening, as the twin moons reflected off the dunes, Nora looked at the thriving colony. Small lights flickered in homes, water flowed through channels, and green plants grew where only sand had existed before. She felt a connection to the ancient builders who had left these gifts, realizing that their wisdom and foresight had guided humanity to this point. Tarek joined her, carrying another crystal. "Look at this," he said, placing it in a small device. Instantly, it projected a map showing underground water channels beneath the desert. "We can now locate water anywhere. The desert doesn't have to limit us anymore." Nora's eyes shone. "We've transformed the desert from a place of struggle to a place of opportunity. And it's only the beginning. There's still more knowledge to uncover, more technology to understand." The colony's people were amazed at the progress. Every day, life became safer, easier, and more prosperous. The energy crystals powered homes, lights, and machines. Water was available for everyone. Plants and food grew in abundance. The desert, once harsh and unforgiving, slowly began to feel like a home. One night, Nora stood on a dune overlooking the colony, the vault entrance hidden beneath the shifting sands. The stars sparkled above, and the twin moons cast soft silver light over the desert. She felt proud of what humanity had achieved, not just surviving, but thriving through curiosity, intelligence, and teamwork. Tarek stood beside her. "The vault didn't just give us technology. It gave us lessons how to think, how to act responsibly, and how to work together." Nora smiled. "And we've shown that humanity is capable of more than just survival. We can learn, adapt, and improve. The desert isn't just empty land. It's a place of secrets and opportunity. And we are ready to explore them all." As the wind whispered softly through the dunes, the colony below glowed with life and hope. Nora and Tarek knew that the desert still held many secrets, waiting patiently for those willing to discover them. With knowledge, courage, and determination, humanity had begun a new chapter on Iridia, a chapter of growth, innovation, and hope. The desert, once silent and empty, was now alive with possibility. Humanity had proven its ingenuity, and the secrets beneath the sand were no longer just mysteries, they were tools for a brighter future. The desert of Iridia had changed. Where once there had been endless sand and scorching heat, there were now small green patches, flowing water, and lights glowing in the colony's homes. Nora stood on a high dune, feeling the cool evening breeze on her face. Below, people moved about with purpose, building, planting, and caring for the growing community. "Look at this," Tarek said, standing beside her. "We've done it. The desert is no longer empty, it's alive with life." Nora smiled. It wasn't just the technology from the vault. It was us, working together, learning, and applying what we discovered. The desert showed us its secrets, and we respected them. The vault had given them knowledge, but it was their curiosity, courage, and teamwork that made transformation possible. Water channels now flowed throughout the colony, powered by energy crystals. Greenhouses grew food that once could not survive in the harsh desert climate. Wind turbines and energy devices lit homes and powered tools, creating a sustainable environment for the settlers. Children ran through small gardens, laughing as water splashed around them. Farmers examined new crops, amazed at how fertile the soil had become with help from ancient techniques and energy devices. Nora watched quietly, feeling a sense of pride and hope that she had never felt before. "The builders of the vault trusted humans," Nora said softly. "They left their knowledge because they believed someone capable would find it and use it wisely. And we did." Tarek nodded. "It wasn't easy. The desert tested us, the vault tested us, and even ourselves. But we proved that humans can think, care, and work together. That's what allowed us to unlock these secrets." As night fell, the twin moons of Iridia rose above the horizon, casting silver light across the dunes. The desert looked peaceful, almost magical, with shadows of small plants stretching across the sand. Nora walked through the colony, observing the people and the changes. Every house had running water, lights glowed softly in every home, and green plants grew in carefully tended gardens. Even the children seemed happier, playing without worry of heat or thirst. Nora returned to the edge of the dune and looked back at the hidden entrance of the vault beneath the sand. It was quiet and still, as if waiting for the next visitor. She felt a sense of connection to the ancient builders who had designed it so carefully. They had left this knowledge, knowing that one day, someone would use it to transform the desert. "We've learned so much," she said, "and yet, there's still more to discover. The desert isn't done with us yet." Tarek smiled. "And we're ready. The vault taught us more than technology. It taught us patience, respect, and teamwork. With these lessons, humanity can thrive anywhere." Nora looked at the settlers below, working together, helping each other, and sharing resources. The community had grown stronger not only because of the vault's knowledge but because of human determination and collaboration. The desert was no longer a barrier, it was a challenge that had been overcome, a land full of opportunity. "Imagine what else we could do," Nora said quietly. "Other deserts, other planets, we can adapt, learn, and improve wherever we go. This is only the beginning." Tarek nodded. "The secrets of Iridia gave us the tools. But it's our courage, curiosity, and effort that will guide us forward. The future is in our hands." As they watched the colony flourish, the wind whispered gently across the dunes, carrying grains of sand that shimmered in the moonlight. The desert had remained patient through centuries of silence, and now it had revealed its gifts to those who were ready to receive them. Nora felt hope stronger than ever. The desert was no longer harsh and empty. It was alive with promise, and humanity had proven that it could learn, adapt, and flourish. Every step of the journey from the first discovery of fragments to unlocking the vault and transforming the colony had shown what humans were capable of when they faced challenges with courage and respect. The twins' moons reflected on the glowing energy crystals throughout the colony, highlighting the harmony between human effort and ancient wisdom. For the first time in centuries, Aridia felt like a home, a place where life could grow and thrive. Nora took a deep breath, feeling the warm night air mix with the cool breeze from the dunes. "We've done more than survive," she said. "We've changed this desert. We've proven that humanity can rise to any challenge, adapt, and make the impossible possible." Tarek put a hand on her shoulder. "And we'll continue to explore, learn, and grow. The desert's secrets are still here, and humanity is ready for them." Below them, the colony glowed like a small oasis in the vast desert. Life had returned to Aridia, stronger and brighter than ever. And above the dunes, Nora and Tarek stood together, ready to face the next chapter of exploration, discovery, and hope. The desert was no longer silent. Its secrets had been unlocked, and humanity had risen to the challenge, proving that even the harshest places could become home when courage, intelligence, and teamwork guided the way.